Today we're looking at the question of, can you fall in love again? My name is Lee Balcom, and I'm the Internet's leading marriage expert, and I'm using this series to answer lots of questions that I hear from readers and listeners all the time, and this is today's topic: can you fall in love again? First of all, let's define love. Now, I'm going to pull back on some philosophy, but don't worry, it's very simple. We just need to look at what are the definitions of love, and I'm going to pull from the Greek idea, because the Greeks had about 5 different definitions of love, or different kinds of love. Today I'm going to pull out just 3 of those. The first one is philia love, which is love between friends, family, etc. It's about loyalty. It's that strong sense of connection we have with somebody that's in our family or someone that's a beloved person, of how we want to be loyal to them and take care of them. That's philia love. It's also been known as brotherly love and sibling kind of love, but it goes beyond that. It's more about loyalty and family loyalty. Now, eros is erotic love. It's passion. It's that connection where we feel like we are in love with someone, or has some level of passion for that person. And then there's agape love, which is unconditional love. It's acceptance of that person no matter who they are and what they do. Now, marriage contains elements of these 3 pieces of love, these 3 types of love, and that's why I've pulled them out, more so than the other 2 types of love. Now, so when we say love is missing, generally speaking, we're talking about the feeling of passion, of eros, that we just feel kind of flat with the other person. And I say that because most people still report that they care for the other person. I hear that over and over. The person says, well, I'm not in love with you, but I do care for you. I do care about you. That's philia love. And so that is often present. Now, understand that agape, because lots of people wonder about that unconditional love. In my mind, agape love, unconditional love, is an ideal that we strive for. It's not one that we get very often, because let's face it, there are conditions on what would lead us to stop loving someone. You know, if they killed somebody, or if you found out that they were an abuser, or you know, a serial killer, or even if they had an affair on you, those may be places where you say, I will no longer love this person. And so we all have conditions on love. Unconditional love is something that we strive for in this life. So the question is, can eros return? Can passion return? Unequivocally, yes, it absolutely can return. And I say can return. That's different than will return. It's possible for it to return. Passion is a side effect of caring and doing loving actions. When we show care for somebody else, and when we actually do loving things, particularly romantically loving things, that's when that sense of passion comes about. Think about it when you started dating. Usually we start not with those feelings of passion, but they grow because, you know, you hold a hand, and while that feels kind of nice, and the other person reciprocates, and then you hug, and while that feels kind of nice, the other person reciprocates, we kiss, exchange presents, and more, the more we do these loving things, the more we feel passion and love for the other person, especially when they're reciprocated. Reality TV has proven how easy it is to find passion. You watch some of the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, and you'll see that the same person can have passionate feelings for 5, 6, 7 people at one time. So in the right situation, given the right actions, passion can be created. And now, I have to say, there is a huge caveat on this. There's a huge disclaimer here, because in order for this to happen, both people need to be willing to let it happen. Let it happen means they don't get in the way of it, because sometimes someone feels too hurt to even try again. I heard someone say, you know, I think I could love you again. In other words, I could feel passion for you again, but my heart, I want to guard it. I don't want to be hurt again. And so she wasn't even willing to let those feelings come through. So the other person has to be willing to let that happen. And sometimes people just refuse for other reasons. They may have an interest somewhere else, or they may have decided to close the book on that chapter of their life. There are lots of reasons. So while it can happen, that doesn't mean it will happen. Now, if you want to know more about how to save your marriage, particularly how these feelings fit into that, and some of why I think they go away, I want you to go now to www.savethemarriage.com. When you're there, you're going to see that you can get a free e-course. I hope you'll sign up for it. It comes by email. You can look at it yourself. There's no obligation to it. But you can also find lots of other information. I have ebooks, and I have several recordings and special reports that you can gain access to if you just go to www.savethemarriage.com.